Paradox Interactive has had a lot of amazing games that they've released over the years, but there's one game in particular that I personally really enjoy that is by many considered to be a failure, and yes, I am talking indeed about Imperator Rome. So in this video, I will be showing you guys what Imperator Rome is like in its current state after the latest 2.0 patch. This patch was released a while back because PDX did announce that they will stop development on Imperator Rome, and that was because there was a very few people that actually played it. It had a horrible release. A lot of people were not happy with the content that the game offered on launch, but the reality is though that they did make up for that, and with the 2.0 patch they've actually added a ton of flavor and some insane systems that I would love to see in the next iteration of EU4, namely in EU5 or Europa Universalis 5, because especially say the combat system and a few other mechanics that Imperator Rome has are insanely well fleshed out and just probably the best out of all PDX games right now. I personally think that it is really a shame that they stopped development on Imperator Rome, but I don't blame them because I understand, you know, when you're getting less than 1,000 people playing the game on average, and I think they got like less than 100 really, well then nobody's actually going to be interested in buying DLCs and interested in anything else that comes out for it. It's one of those cases where having a really bad first impression kind of ruined the whole thing for this game, but let's see how playable it is in the current state, and maybe you should pick up the game if you've bought it already and play it a little bit more again, see how it is now, and if you don't have it, maybe consider getting it if you enjoy what you see in the video today, or not. It's your choice. I'm simply making the video because I actually enjoy the game and I feel like it deserves a second chance. Before we continue, I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, Yahaha, a new user-generated content creation platform. Yahaha allows you to create and publish your own games without any coding or server experience by using the smart assets in the Yahaha studio to make your dream virtual worlds come to life. You have access to millions of assets and components to use. Yahaha hosts regular live sessions to help creators enhance their building skills. You can follow them on Twitch or check previous sessions on YouTube. I've created a little hide and seek scenario using one of the templates, added in a policeman to chase after me, and added the ability for my character to transform into other objects, tweaked the settings of this particular scenario to how I want my hide and seek game to run, and decided to have some fun by becoming various objects in my world and seeing if the policeman can catch me. The great part is that after you created your own world, you can publish it to the platform where other players can play on your worlds, and you can do the same. You can always join other people's worlds and experience their unique and amazing environments. So don't miss out and use the link below to check out Yahaha and start making your dream games for free. Beautiful world of antiquity. I like how they have everything all the way into India and into the northern bits, Scandinavian parts and so on. Would be cool to see the entire world, including the Asian parts, but obviously that wouldn't make much sense since we don't really have any actual historical records for the New World for this period, or for the southern bits of Africa for that matter, right? But we do have records for Asia. Having the rest of Asia actually kind of makes sense. Maybe in Imperator Rome 3? That's not gonna happen. Alright, so clearly we're gonna be starting as the Romans because I am a massive Roma boo, and shut up, okay? It's my decision. Don't judge me. Now, there's a lot of things here that are super similar to, say, EU4 and other things that are similar to CK3. Reality is that Imperator Rome kinda is a bridge between the two games in particular, but it does have a very, very similar aspect when it comes to combat to EU4 more than it has anything to do with the CK3. The main thing in common with CK3 is the fact that you have characters, they have their families, and you know, you can basically assign them to different positions. You can decide what happens with their careers, you can give them lands and so on. It's basically, you can manage that part if you want, but it's definitely not the main aspect of the game. The interface, of course, is also a little bit of a poo-poo shmoo-poo. If they continued development, probably would have gotten a lot better, and truth be told, this is way better than it was on launch, right? I mean, we still had mana points on launch. Now, we don't necessarily have mana points. It's a little bit better fleshed out than it was before. We have instead political influence, which has a lot of sway over how your country is managed, and you need to use it for a lot of things. Now, we have our government here. We have 3 political parties. Not going to bother with them too much. What really matters here are the offices, because the offices give you proper bonuses based on who is assigned to the offices, and their loyalty also is extremely important. So if somebody doesn't have really high loyalty, you're going to get less influence as consequence, and you want to just basically replace them or increase their loyalty. So for example, this guy here, we're going to bribe him in good old Roman fashion. Let's go, my boy. Increasing his loyalty of us. Maybe even grant him a holding or something. My favorite map mode, the culture map mode. And it is my favorite because at the start we only have very few provinces which are Roman, and Roman derived basically all of the same culture group people. But by the end of the campaign, I normally managed to make most of the Western world and the Mediterranean a Roman culture with the cunning use of assimilation. Okay, we assimilate people. Religion wise, also very, very interesting. We got Hellenic in Italy and most of the Balkans, Druidic, Iberic, Tuistic. This is pretty accurate. You know, I think out of all the PDX games, Imperator Rome is the game that they had the least amount of information to work with, because obviously it's the ancient world and you don't really have that much info on the ancient world end of the day, right? But even so, they did do a pretty decent job at depicting how it was in this particular start date. We start in 450 ab urbe conditia, which means from the establishment of Rome. That essentially means from the day in which the city of Rome was built, which I believe in our timeline would be something like 753 before Christ, if I'm not mistaken. Let's actually add this up. Yeah, 753 or 754, 304 plus 450, I guess. Did they get the timeline wrong here? Did they get the actual date wrong? Or what's going on? The whole date debate aside, let's check how the military system works in this game, because I really, really enjoy the military system. So we have a new system compared to how it was at launch. At launch, it was basically identical to the EU4 system, where you had units you recruited on the map and so on. Now, it's a little bit different because it depends on your population. That influences how many units you can have. And you got 2 systems. The first one, the levies, is the one that, you know, you basically raise a levy when you're at war and you fight. These are basically conscripts. They're not really great units and they're predetermined. Like, you got supply trains. By the way, you need supply trains to carry the food. So the attrition system is different because it's not based on provinces. It's based on whether you have enough food or enough supply trains in your army. And if the supply train runs out, your army starts to lose a lot of soldiers to attrition. So it's a really great system. Now, we also have the legions. In order to get legions, we need to get new legislation that lets us get legions. So we go to laws. The first 2 reforms are basically non-legions. The third and fourth, Punic reforms and the Marian reforms, is when we are allowed to recruit legions. And the legions themselves are really great, and you can customize what kind of units you want to have in your legions and so on. Essentially, this is where it becomes EU4 style, where you decide what type of units you want in it. So let's go ahead and play this a little bit and work our way through the campaign. Let's select our first 3 ideas. So because we are Roman, we can get 2 military ideas and 1 oratory idea, which means we're going to get a bonus from getting these 3 specific ones. I'm going to go for morale of armies, ordered retreat, that increases the morale recovery, and from the oratory we will be going with loyalty of generals and admirals, because they tend to be a little bit disloyal in the Roman Empire, historically speaking. Now, this gives us +5 loyalty of characters and freeman happiness +8%. Speaking of freemen and all that, we have a few different populations. So we got nobles, citizens, freemen, tribesmen, and slaves. And all of these have different requirements. We can increase the loyalty and the way that these pops interact with our country through a variety of ways. The main way, I would say, is probably through buildings, the easiest way. You can see here that each building has different bonuses. This one, for example, the tax office increases taxes, obviously. Then the academy increases civilization level. It also gives noble happiness and noble desire ratio, meaning more people will tend to become nobles. Take note, these buildings are important, but you need to also worry about your money, because you cannot just invest all your money in buildings. You have to invest some of that money in warfare too. We do start with a few countries here that are essentially our subjects, and we're gonna try and integrate them. So let's go for relations and improve opinion of This goes up over time. It's not instant, so you want to start improving relations earlier on, because as you start killing everybody else around you in the early bit of the campaign, by the time you finished unifying half of Italy, you can also start integrating these other subjects into your own nation. We're also going to be going for Mars as our first deity that we'll be making full use of, because he's giving us extra discipline. We need discipline for these conquests we're going to have. And we also can get some inventions. Inventions are basically the technologies of the game, and it's pretty much identical to the Victoria 3 system in the sense that Victoria 3 pretty much had it from Imperator Rome, actually. We have 8 innovation points, so we can use this to unlock certain things like military artisans, and then we go down this line to active drills, which is going to give us 5% extra discipline for our units. But we also want to invest in the other techs, so we go to oratory and civic advances as well and get some stuff from here if we need to. I'm going to go for aggressive expansion impact minus 2.5 and another minus 2.5 from here. This way people don't get as pissed with us as they would otherwise. Maybe even equal integration to lower the aggressive expansion a little bit faster, meaning that we can expand a little bit faster as well. And you know what, let's do another aggressive expansion. So we start with minus a 30% aggressive expansion impact, which is pretty decent, but it does mean that we are a little bit lacking with the other fields now since we invested so much in oratory tech. We can also import certain goods, and based on the good that you import, you get different bonuses. Like here for spices, they give us citizen happiness plus 4%, and if we get a surplus, we get national citizen output, meaning we get more citizens created as we go along in the game. Another big difference is that each good gives different amount of money when you start enacting these trade routes. So here, for example, honey gives 0.16 each month, whilst the livestocks only give 0.12 each month. So I'm gonna get for the honey, obviously I want the extra cash. We have different missions here. We start the Italian missions, which revolve around the unification of Italy, and after we finish this particular mission tree, we get options of new mission trees where we can choose expansion into the north, expansion into the south, into Carthage or whatever. There's multiple mission trees, that's what I'm trying to say here. So after we finish this one, we have a lot more mission trees to come. So let's go ahead first and go for encourage expansion. This way we're gonna start expanding into the Italian lands, and this mission is gonna start giving us claims all around the Italian lands too. There you go. For example, we just got the option of getting claims on the Umbrian territories and the provinces of Picenum, Tuscia, and Arminium, and they lose some opinion of us, or they gain some opinion. Nope, we're gonna get the claims. We don't care about these bad boys. We're gonna be attacking them, in fact, and we can start the war. They are allied to Picentia and Sabinia, so we're gonna have to fight 3 different countries at the same time. That means we can start raising our levies now. We got 13,000 in Rome, another 2,000 here, and we can also get mercenaries if we need extra units for this particular war. Even more claims on the Samnites this time in Campania, Apulia. Pretty cool. We're gonna use those later down the line after we finish with these guys first. Oh no, the barbarians are sieging down the city of Rome. Time to use our levies to crush them, my boys. Let's go over here and show them who's the real ultimate Testudo Lord. That's what's going on here. We're calling ourselves the Testudo Lords, basically. Ah, yes, scumbags. Y'all gonna die good now, my boys. There you go. We killed 3,000 of their boys. We lost only 1,000, so we're fine. And our allies here, or subjects, have sieged down pretty much the entirety of their country too. We're chasing down their units as they retreat over in Equivium, so they have no chance of recovering from this war at all. There you go. That should be the last battle. We'll be able to completely wipe out their troops afterwards for sure. Now we completely stack wipe their entire army. We do need to siege down every single city in order to take these in the war deal though. Otherwise, they will be left with whatever provinces we did not siege down yet. Despite a lot of things being different, one thing is surely almost the same. Takes me a really long time to siege stuff down, doesn't it? And with the siege of Aternum finished, we can do the peace deal, sue for peace, and of course, make sure every single province is selected here. This way, we can go with the AOK, Buyashnoki, yes sir, and we've just become a regional power by taking over all of our neighbors. Hot diggity dog, we've quite literally doubled in size in just the first few years. And we can do our mission here. We got the onset of Umbrians, Clicius Maximus, and the Adriatic opportunity. Ancona may become our subject, or else we get a claim. All right, let's see if Ancona becomes our subject. We can also change the capital of the Umbrians, as well as 6 of their pops will become Romans. Hell yeah, I want that, my boys. Iguvium is the cap. Oh, Ancona just became our tributary. That's cool. We got an extra little Schnippledorp here to help us in our wars now. My favorite part about this game is the early bit where you really struggle so much against the Carthaginians. Sometimes you really can just absolutely get crushed by Carthage, which is historical because when you really think about it, the Romans and the Carthaginians were so close to each other strength-wise. It was pretty lucky for the Romans that they actually won the Punic Wars. We're gonna start the construction of a library in Rome, as well as a few more libraries around Rome. We want to have properly educated people in our country, and the best way to do that obviously is by having libraries, right? We're gonna do one in Capua also for that matter, and we're getting ready for the next war against the Samnites now. The Great Southern War, as I'm gonna be calling this for no apparent reason except because it's in the south and it's a great war. So shut up, okay? Just don't judge me. I get to decide my own names, all right? Come on. But yeah, essentially we're now at war with pretty much everybody in the south, so we gotta win this and unify as a Roman Italia. Gonna quickly siege down all of their provinces and get some Slavs in the process. There you go. We got a few sent over to our other provinces. Looks to me like they're amassing a massive army over here for nefarious reasons. Clearly. There's a battle. We gotta reinforce. No! Oh, we did manage to reinforce, but we lost the siege of Siponium over there, so there's that going on for us, I guess. Hey, we did stack wipe their entire army, though. I remember when this game first came out at launch that you didn't start with truce with the southern and the northern parts, so you could quite literally unify the entirety of Italy within just the first 5 years. It was so broken. Not to mention, you also had legionaries available from day one. You didn't have to pass legislation to get those legions. Speaking of, we can go for the Punic reforms, which now allow us to recruit legions. So let's go with our first legion right now. These guys have gotten their asses kicked. Let's make sure they get back into the game. So let's go military legions. Okay, so apparently we have 4 commanders for this main legion here. Let's edit the composition. So we're gonna need, of course, heavy infantry. Let's say 5 heavy infantry. Wait, what? Oh, I don't have the money for that. No! All right, we're gonna make it small and we're gonna add afterwards in that case. Let's say 1 cohort of archers. Of course, we need some supply trains and 2 heavy legionnaires. I'd love to add some elephants, but yeah, no monies. So let's just go with these boyos here. A new era has begun as we have the first legion, Legio Italia, will be awarded the Primigenia privilege here. And they have their own traditions and history. You can see the history of each legion. That is such a cool feature in my opinion. It has 4 commanders essentially, but it is super small right now, so we got to make sure we don't lose this legion in the first combat. We can do a separate piece and annex these boys here since we've captured both of their cities as well as their fortification. That means we got a few troops out of the war, so we don't need to fight against the previous Apulian units. Here's a mechanic I actually really enjoyed. Basically, peace imminent mechanic. If you don't have the war goal enforced in a certain amount of days, then white peace will be enforced. And let's also annex these boys now. Rome is added to the first Roman Samnite War. Envoys from Epirus have descended on the courts of Italy. Oh no. Oh, this is really bad. The Epirites have joined. The Epirites are here. Oh, Pyrrhus of Epirus is gonna kick our butts. This man is willing to crush everything in order to win the battles is what I'm saying. He's not to be trifled with. Holy schnaps. Epirus is actually massive, dude. Wow. Do they start this big or did they get this big? I'm actually a little bit confused now. What's going on here, boys? Let's continue to raid these lands here whilst we get rid of that confusion. Hey, we can start integrating our vassals. Let's go with these boys first and these boys and the... Let's go with everybody. Let's integrate all of our vassals that we can integrate for that matter. Epirus just chilling around here underneath the land. Look at that graphical bug over there. And goodbye, Masapia. Welcome to the realm of the Roman. You're welcome. You've been civilized, my boy. Hey, we can do the Destroy Apulians mission now. That's pretty cool. We can get up to 4 pops in Hydruntum. Let's go and send them over to Hydruntum. And let's also fight this battle here. Hopefully we win it. They're retreating. Okay. They're so embarrassed that they lost that they've basically just become a flag. Oh, sorry. They've become a shield. That's it. That's all that's left of the Epirates. I guess they didn't flesh out all of the bugs before they stopped development on this game, did they? Well, we did make a white peace with Pyrrhus of Epirus. We took over the province that they invaded. And now let's disband all of our levies because we do have insanely high amounts of war exhaustion since we've been at war pretty much since the start of the campaign. Now that we are at peace, we can also edit our legion over here. This is our standing army, so we don't need to disband the legion. It's always going to be around and we're always going to have to pay for it, so keep that in mind. So what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be adding some more archers. We're going to also add a heavy cavalry cohort, 1 extra supply, and we're gonna add some engineers, making sieges a lot faster than it otherwise would be. There you go. It's gonna cost us 2,000 manpower and 82 treasury points, and looks like we are about to get drawn into a war with Carthage. Rome starts guarantee of Syracuse. Oh boy, the good schnapps is about to begin, my boys. Hell yeah. And these boys are going to be increasing their size soon. Oh, wait. No, these are the conscripts. Where's my legion at? Oh, this is the legion in the south, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. So there you go. We got Legion 1 is now up to 4,000 units. And did I forget to disband my levies? I did forget to disband my levies. All right, now they're disbanded. Gone with the wind, as I like to say. Etruscan Civil War ended. Perfect, just in time for us to invade them, actually. And also, we can get our first military tradition. There's different military traditions in the game as it is right now. And we're obviously going to be going for the Roman traditions. Siege ability or heavy infantry offense. I'm going to go for the heavy infantry offense. Eventually, as we go down into this tradition path, we can get a Roman roads, which gives the ability for our legions to build the roads between provinces, which makes transport between provinces a lot faster for these legions. It's probably my personal favorite thing about the entire game. I love building roads in the game. It's why I play this in the first place. Come on. So I have to say, after playing this again, I really did enjoy it. I actually enjoyed it. There are some pros, there are some cons. I think the major cons are the fact that the interface is still pretty cluttered. It's not really easy to understand, and unless you play it quite a little bit of time, it's going to be pretty hard to fully grasp the game as it is. But the good part is that after the 2.0 update, the changes are actually massive. Playing as Carthage does not feel the same like playing as Rome. It's a very different feeling, a very different play style, and the same goes for most of the countries. Like if you play as the natives, if you play as the Seleucids or the Indians or the Greeks and so on, the mission paths are also extremely different, which has a massive impact on the game itself, because you know, you mold yourself on the missions that you get and the mission that you select, because you will have multiple available mission trees that you can choose between, by the way, as you go along in the game. I don't think it has the same replayability as EU4 has, at this moment at least, because let's face it, Imperator Rome did not get much support after launch. It didn't get many DLCs, it didn't get that many patches as EU4 has gotten, so it's to be expected, but it does run a lot better than EU4, and the combat system as well as the army mechanics are 100 times better than the ones in EU4. So I really hope that whenever EU5 gets created, it's gonna be taking some of the ideas from Imperator Rome, because the combat system in Imperator Rome is really good. I didn't show everything actually, so you can see here in the combat screen that you can choose what type of units you want to assign to the front line, what type of units to the back row, so we can get heavy infantry and then heavy infantry again and then heavy infantry. It's all heavy infantry because we're Romans. I'm just kidding. No, we're gonna put, of course, heavy cav on the flanks, we're gonna put archers behind, and we're gonna keep the heavy infantry in the front. There's a lot of other stuff here, like the ability to build military roads whenever we unlock the military tradition to build the roads. You can also drill your army, same like in EU4, build the regular road, force march, and so on. It's a really well-defined system that deserves a lot more attention for sure. And the game itself deserves a lot more attention that it's getting, because almost nobody's playing it right now, sadly. And it has had a massive turnover with the 2.0 patch. So I highly encourage you guys to give the game a try. Give it a second chance, let's call it. And if you want to see more Imperator Rome stuff, let me know in the comment section. I might do some more stuff in the future. Also, if you guys enjoyed the videos and you enjoyed the channel in general, consider subscribing. I'm trying to get to 160k before the end of the year. It's fast approaching. I don't think I'll be getting it, but if you do subscribe, I promise I'll stop taking your wallet, okay? I'll think about it. Okay, fine, no promises. And hey, until the next time, check out this awesome Vicky 3 Russia run. And I want to give a massive thank you to all of my patrons, channel members, and Twitch subscribers. I would not be able to do this without all your support.